This piece is titled, "The Deeper We Tread into These Waters, the More I Start to Wonder Why." Things that make me go, why are humans surprised at the use of AI, artificial intelligence, that is? Where do we think it comes from? The age of intelligence is here. Where am I pointing to, one might ask? It's tough to tell. Stay with me now. Given that we all experience life as we know it on an individual plane, consciously it's hard to imagine until we make contact with another UFO. Subconsciously and interconnectedly, we are always on par with someone. We experience our own reality as an individual movie screen. Our awareness is not yet tuned to the frequency of oneness, and our thoughts are simply a silent or near silent internal monologue. Some people call this inner monologue our conscience or guiding light, and it directs our actions against ourselves and each other. Once we begin to connect to another through non-superficial means, we begin to experience what it feels like to be entangled in the oneness. We begin to identify similarities. We experience deja vu and even identity crises, especially if we are not the best versions of ourselves emotionally or morally. Even some of the most well-adjusted can experience it as they begin to tune into their amplified connection. We begin to experience life on a new plane, and it can be discombobulating. To answer the question, where do we think AI, comes from? I believe it would depend on who we are looking at. I believe AI is the science of our brains collectively working together and the coding of those brain signals into code that computers can understand. Is that dangerous? Cancer causing? Intrusive? It's already understood that we as humans are natural antennas. We can receive and transmit data through our body's basic functions. It would not be a reach to then assume that those waves of data can then be read, interpreted, and written into code for technological applications. The question of if technology will ever have a conscience appears to be already answered. It does. Ours. This explains a lot of odd and strange things that happen when we connect people and the internet. The way bullies feel more empowered to be even more bullyish, artists feel more inspired, and the everyday person has a voice that may not usually get heard. Like the sun eating another sun or a caffeinated person drinking more caffeine, it's the multiplication effect. Sunscreen and caution, please. What happens to a computer in a cornfield? Depends on who's using it. Some people are aware of their potential, but others, and I'm going to guess a great number of us, are not, leaving room for subconscious thoughts to take precedence over their conscious thoughts and maybe even their actions. When moments of inspiration and enlightenment come along, we must spring at the opportunity to write them down because, sure enough, the moments, more like usual room conditions depending on environment, of opposition are soon to follow shortly after. The door does not remain open long to such clear and expressive thinking if we do not prop it open by being in the room with like-minded genius or take notes along the way. Imagine the door having a spring-loaded effect. It opens with the proper force, but then closes quickly when that force is removed. Education is becoming increasingly more accessible to students of all ages, genders, and ethnic backgrounds, allowing for the wealth of knowledge to be spread further across previously unincorporated communities. The burden of cost is no longer a factor in how far you are able to go in the education system. In the social political area, the borders of our country are being relaxed to allow those with even more diverse backgrounds than ours in America to take advantage of the opportunities our governmental policies have in place. The balance of wealth is being shifted, but not necessarily in the way that some of us anticipated. The highly experienced, educated, in the know, the learned, livers, the ones that have no idea. While there is a social belief that one is better than the other, these are all stages that we get to go through. If you live long enough, take your experiences seriously, subscribe to a moral code within yourself and your world preferably, then you advance through these levels and ultimately become the top of the food chain. Am I getting fat? The universe is expanding. Why are we still told to fight for scraps when there is room? If the universe itself can stretch and expand beyond what we were, why are we still left with the dialogue that there's only a small amount of room at the top?